fixing it. Yeah, she's just like well, I don't want to fool with it like with the present situation. And Cooper's finding out how much stuff was, yeah, buddy, I'll take care of it. He's trying, I mean, legislation that came out Friday. You got Ingram suing he put a lawsuit on Save Our Fairgrounds. Who's got the lawsuit on? They granted the other day, the chancellor said, oh, this thing's still trial. So it's going to trial. Save Our Fairgrounds suing over the charges. Ingram's suing Save Our Fairgrounds because he wants them to shut up. And then some other guy said, we want to do, I forgot who it was, finance. He wants to go ahead no matter what the mayor says. Start digging.
I'm taking them all.
He wanted me to all this stuff happened Friday.
Okay, cool. We're going to be in the nursery today because we only have Shell and me. And I built grass this morning. So I told y'all last time. We did a big kid craft last time, but they were doing a little kid craft. So sorry. We're going to make cute stuff today. All right, it'll be fun. It'll be fun.
It's a year old. It's not new.
Yeah, I have to go up and light the flame and then we'll go out just before the meditation.
Just before the night.
We do meditation every Sunday. Usually the kids have already gone back by now. Haven't done that.
I did a somewhat of a meditation. I like going outside, like driving my phone, which is like meditating to me. It's kind of funny because like even though it relaxes me, the music is like really loud and efficient.
All set, sister? I'm going to just sit down here because I got to do that and then go.
They don't need it.
I don't know, but I got to put it Here we go. It's okay.
They're working out something.
Monday, trying to think what road I was on. I drove past it. I was like, oh, my God. I was out in the middle of nowhere. I had dropped something off for one of our customers. No better place to be than out in the middle of nowhere. And I said, man, she's like, really funny to know that we're driving around out in an area where you never are. That's crazy. Okay. Yeah, I was delivering something to Lawson's Lawn. So, you're out in the middle of nowhere.
Karen? Hello?
Yes.
Get over here.
I got to sit here.
That's because we have Voices of Unity singing today. And by the way, welcome to Unity of Music City, place of authentic transformation. We're so glad that you're here to hear all the wonderful music and the amazing messages. So we have the wish list that we've been talking about. And y'all have given us enough toilet paper to snow our enemies' houses for years. We have no enemies. Just saying. There are no enemies. It's all love. But we could TP our own houses for years. I don't know. But we have a lot of toilet paper now because you guys are amazing. So now we need paper towels. Okay, so next thing. And those are much harder to throw at houses, trust me. Much, much harder. So let's go the peaceful route and use the big things that are harder to throw. Okay, so paper towels, please. Please don't forget Leadership Committee. Committee? Yeah, well that's when we have stakes, then we're committee. The Leadership Committee, or Council, will be meeting at 1:15 today. So if you're on Leadership Council, we'll see you there. On Friday, February 14th, Valentine's Day, or as my kids call it, Love Day, will be the Energy Wellness Center, and that's at 7 p.m. Healing practitioners will be available for short sessions on a first-come, first-served basis, and come early, because it fills up, for sure. And while you're waiting, they give a beautiful meditative setting for you to be able to get yourself ready for a nice healing. So it's wonderful. On Sunday, February 16th, the Healing Earth Ministry, which is formerly known as Outdoor Adventure, will be meeting from 1 to 2 o'clock. The location is to be announced, but see Ann Coverdale if you want any more information. The Wednesday evening meditation will be starting up on February 19th. Yay! Okay, see Becky for some more information. Okay, so let's do some more singing, and then I got a little bit more to spout at you. What do you think? You want to sing again? Let's go.
Open
for our soloists right here. Aren't they amazing? I love singing with these folks. It's such a pleasure and a dream. Speaking of amazing singers and amazing speakers, we've got Deb Moore coming up to speak today. Yes! It always makes me nervous seeing her in the audience because she's the one who used to do this for so long. And I'm like, God dang, the pro is watching. I better not mess up. As if she'd judge me, but she wouldn't. But yeah, I'm always like, oh God, I'm gonna mess up every time Deb is here. So, Saturday, February 22nd. This sounds really exciting to me. I don't know about y'all, but a new look at leadership conference, or what would we call it? Conference?
It's a workshop.
Workshop. That's a much better word. See, Deb's here. Can't come up with words. Words will escape me when Deb is here. Okay, so a workshop with Reverend Denise from the High Vibration Zone. This is from 9:30 a.m. to 4 p.m. And she'll be talking about what does it take to lead in today's world. So please bring a dish to share for lunch, and the personal investment is $30. And there will be a new membership orientation after the service on Sunday, February 23rd. Anybody who wants to become a new member must attend this orientation. So please see either the new member table under the huge sign that says new member information, or see Russ or Margie for some more information. There's Margie over there. Is Russ? Do I see Russ? No. Margie is right there in the beautiful red scarf, so you can go see her. Lunch Bunch is back. Come and join us if you are free on midday on Wednesdays. They meet at 11:30 for a book discussion and a BYO lunch. The book is The Art of Abundance, 10 Rules for a Prosperous Life by Dennis Merritt Jones. And if you like to read, you might like to write. The writers group meets in the Namaste Cafe on the fourth Sunday of every month at 12:30. Crystal?
You all will join me. Our vision, to remember the universal presence alive in each of us. And our mission, we create experiences for expanding consciousness and awakening infinite possibilities.
Thank you, Crystal. B, would you mind leading us in sacred reading?
Good morning. It's wonderful to see so many beautiful, beautiful faces out there. To see the love, feel the love in this room. For the month of February, I made a commitment to remember who I am, the expression of divine love. Today, I commit to being patient with myself as my remembrance gets clearer. Sometimes in my remembering, I forget, and someone or something helps me to remember. So in this now moment, I affirm, I am patient and kind with myself. Together, I am patient and kind with myself. As I make the commitment to deepen my practice of loving, it is likely I will experience some major transformation. Sometimes this love expansion can feel really good, and sometimes it can bring up grief or discomfort. I remember there are no accidents when I say yes to the expansion of my consciousness. In this moment, I am ready for the next step, which will appear at exactly the right and perfect time, even though I am unsure as to where it will appear and what it will look like. This process of awakening was described in a poem by Rumi, the 13th century Persian mystic. This is called The Guest House. This being human is a guest house. Every morning, a new arrival. A joy, a depression, a meanness, some momentary awareness comes as an unexpected visitor. Welcome and entertain them all, even if they're a crowd of sorrow who violently sweep your house empty of its furniture. Still, treat each guest honorably He may be clearing you out for some new delight. The dark thought, the shame, the malice. Meet them at the door laughing and invite them in. Be grateful for whoever comes, because each has been sent as a guide from beyond.
And so I ask, as we begin this time of silent meditation, for you to do a reset breath, which means exhale first. And then just pay attention to the way your breath comes into your body. And I would ask, because of the depth of what you just heard, read, that you exhale again. And then allow your breath to balance within you. It knows exactly how to do that. And so today we are learning to be patient and kind with ourselves. And so hear these words: I am patient and kind with myself. So when am I patient with me? And when do I push myself too hard? And am I able to connect to my breath and reset every time I'm pushing myself too hard? And remember to be patient. Because as I become more patient and kind with me, I'm able to embrace whatever the day brings. It's an awakening for me each day to open the doors of my mind and my heart and to allow whatever has presented itself in. It's as each morning is a brand new arrival. And sometimes those arrivals are joyous. And sometimes they may be sad. And I am asked to wrap my heart around each arrival. So in this now moment, drop those 18 inches from your head to your heart. Just breathe into your heart space now. And pay attention to what might be going on first within your own body. And possibly in your mind. And embrace whatever that might be with the energy that is love flowing in and through your heart center. And allow that energy to expand and circle around you in this now moment. I am patient and kind with myself in the silence. In the silence. patient and kind with myself. I am patient, waiting as long as it takes for me to remember that I am loved. Be still and know. Be still and know that I am God. Be still and joined in the bond of love, joined as one, we're embraced by the Spirit of the loving God, joined as one, we're embraced by the Spirit of the loving God. So some of you may be going, why in the world was a minister up there doing that? About 23, 24, 25 years ago, that was my job. That was what I was hired to do, is be the music minister for this congregation. And life changes, doesn't it, Deb Moore? Some of you were here. And so how we deal with change is very interesting, because know that that probably is my first love, music. And the creation of voices that I did at the time. And if you've ever heard the first CD we did that Judy and I produced together with Kenny Malone and Miles, that was my passion. And then the world shifted. And I was asked to do something different. And at first I was like, I don't wanna. Until I got quiet enough to realize it was mine to do. So how do we do that in our lives without pushing back? Anybody ever had that experience of thinking you knew exactly what was yours to do? And thinking you knew exactly what the world was going to roll out in front of you, and all of a sudden, whammy, here's something different. Hence why B read that poem this morning. It may not be the easiest poem you've ever heard, but I suggest you go and Google it and read it over and over, because that's what life is like. Some days are wonderful, and some days there's a piece of caca thrown out there in front of us, and we're going, what am I going to do with that? And we are told to love it. Oh my. So there's the deal. We are told by the mystics, by Jesus the master teacher, by the Buddha, by Muhammad, by everyone who brought the message to us, to love it. We are told to love cancer. We are told to love death. We are told to love the things that we go, no, I don't want to love that. So I want to ask you, how does pushing against it help?
Makes it worse.
Makes it worse? So last week, we did a little bit of looking at being one, because we've looked at that since the beginning of this year. And we looked a little bit about understanding that we were divine, and that because we were one with the divine, that we are manifesting or creating our own world. And we did some experiences here in the sanctuary, those of you that were here. And it was interesting to go through those experiences, because we created joy together, and we created something that was not joyful together. And we discussed what that looked like. And quite interestingly, I had someone, when the service was over with, said, I didn't like that not joy part. And I said, no, you don't, and you do it every day, all day long. Are we aware of that? Because it was such a simple experiment of walk around and talk to 3 people about things that you love. I couldn't get people to hush. Took me forever banging on the bowl just to get people to sit back down in their seats. It's like, we want to do that. And then I said, I want you to walk around and talk to 3 people and share something you don't like. All of a sudden, all the air went out of the room. But I want to ask you this morning, why did the air go out of the room? Because we do it all the time, all day long. In our jobs, with other people, we call people up on the phone, we post it on Facebook. What I don't like. So why is it that we know that it doesn't work, but we keep doing it? Because we're just remembering. We're just remembering who we are. I want you to say, I am divine love. And talk to the person beside you about how it feels to say, I am divine love. Go. So I just heard on the stage, and I will tell you where it came from. I am a divine child of God, so I do not inherit caca. That's what Charles and Myrtle Fillmore would call a denial. It's like, put out there what's not, and then say what is. So I am remembering who I am. I am an expression of the divine. And as an expression of the divine, what? I am a part of the expansion of the universe. I'm always creating. Always. With every thought, with every word, with every emotion, with everything. There's the problem. Is it not? Because I don't know about you, but I've had some thoughts this last week that Judy would tell you probably aren't very divine.
Mine were worse.
And it's like, how do I do this? How do I do it? There's how we do it. Here's the hard part. I'm remembering who you are. Even when you show up as I think, oh, I don't think you're divine right now. Because the minute I judge you and think you're not divine right now, guess what? I'm talking about myself. You are an expression of the divine. As an expression of the divine, you are part of the what? That's really all we need to know. Everybody is creating in every moment. And I can either participate in the creation of something I don't want, which I've seen a lot of this week. Even from people in our congregation, I've seen people post interesting things on Facebook. And the little evil Denise wanting to go out there and go, affirm that 1,000 times and see where that gets you. But I didn't. Because I tried to remember I was divine. But just take a scan back at your Facebook posts and go, is this really what I want to create? Is it really what I believe? Even if you say, well, that's the truth. In what universe? Can you think about that? In what universe is what you're posting the truth? Because we live in a universe that is divine love. And we can either resonate with that, or we can resonate with what we think is real. That's the deal. So we did this last week too. I want you to say this with me. May I be peace. May I be love. May I be well. May I be happy. This was the words that I shared with you, and I said, when you're in Walmart and you're waiting, and the person is fiddling, farting around, and you're needing to get out of there.
Yeah.
And all of a sudden they have 45 million different items, but they're in their express line. And there you stand with your 3. Do a reset breath and do this. Because it works, but only if you work it. I was on the phone this week with my mother. And know that I love her and don't love her all in the same moment. Does that make sense? You understand what I'm saying? And so I caught myself going, she's half deaf, so she couldn't hear me blowing on the phone. I was like, okay, may I be peace, may I be love, may I be well, may I be happy. And then when I could get there, then I did this part. Back to her. Say it with me. May you be peace. May you be love. May you be well. May you be happy. So I want you to think about someone. Last week we thought about someone that we loved. And know that as any good minister, in just a few moments I'm going to call Deb Moore up here, the big guns, who's going to talk about the people that we aren't even thinking we might love at all. But let's talk about the people that we kind of love, but they're rubbing us the wrong way. You got any of those? Got any of those? My mama is one, but got any of those? So close your eyes and echo me. See that person in your face. May you be peace.
May you be peace.
May you be love.
May you be love.
May you be well.
May you be well.
May you be happy.
May you be happy.
Now talk to the person beside you about which one of those is the hardest for you to say with that person. And it's going to be different depending on what's going on with that person. Go. So the first time that I ever did this experience with my own mother, the first thing that went through my mind was, she's far from peace. She's far from being well. She's far from being loving right now, and she is very far from being happy. So what is it that we have to do in those moments? We have to imagine. And so we're going to be using some music today interspersed in here to help you get it. So Voices is going to come and sing a song that some of you will know that's about imagining love and joy and peace around that person.
Imagine that love
making their way back, talk to the person beside you about what you just heard, because it's about using your imagination to create what you want. Go. Now know that we are still really talking about those people that we do love that cause us a little stress at times. It could be friends, it could be parents, it could be children. But then there comes those people that were like, oh Lord, I gotta love that person. You know, I'm just going to play on Jesus, the Master Teacher's words, love your neighbor as yourself. And who is your neighbor? Everybody. Even those people that we go, not so much. So in a moment, I'm going to call Deb up here, but I want to read you a little something, something. I love this book. I'll show you in just a minute. And you all know that if you read all the books that I read, you'd be reading all the time, because I've got 10 or 12 going at any moment, all the time, going. But because of what's going on in our world today, and we are so becoming more and more polarized, and people are going, I don't like any of those people over there. This book will save your life. It's called Zero Limits. The Secret Hawaiian System for Wealth, Health, Peace, and More. It's about Ho'oponopono, which I talked a little bit about last week, but Deb's going to explain it, because Deb had just ironically, and nothing is ironic like that, it just happened that she had sent me, or posted on her Facebook or something, that she had been struggling with a few people out in the world, political people. And I'm not going to name them. She may, and that's fine if she does. I don't care, because we all know that all of us are on all different sides of issues, and some of us struggle with what certain people do. And she started talking about using Ho'oponopono and that it was working. So I want you to hear a little bit about this. When I say this to people, there are a lot of people that go, that couldn't have happened. Well, it really did. So I just want you to take this in before Deb comes up here. There was a psychiatrist by the name of Dr. Hugh Lynn. His full name was Dr. Ialakala Hugh Lynn, but he told me to call him E. Yes, like the letter in the alphabet. He explained that he worked at Hawaii State Hospital for 3 years, the ward where they kept the criminally insane, and it was dangerous. Psychologists quit on a monthly basis. The staff called in sick a lot and simply quit. People would walk through that ward with their backs against the wall, afraid of being attacked by the patients. It was not a pleasant place to work. Dr. Hugh Lynn was hired by this facility, and he told me he never saw the patients professionally, that he never counseled one of them. So those of you that are therapists are going, what? He agreed to review their files. And while he looked at those files, he would work on himself. I'll let Deb explain what all this means. As he worked on himself, the patients began to heal. I just want you to breathe into that. This became even more fascinating when I learned the following. After a few months, patients who had been shackled were being allowed to walk freely. Others who had been heavily medicated were getting their medications reduced. And those who had been seen as having no chance of ever being released were being freed. I was in awe. Not only that, he went, but the staff began to enjoy coming back to work. Absenteeism and turnover disappeared, and we ended up with more staff than we needed because patients were being released. And all the staff was showing up to work. Today, that ward is closed. I asked him, what were you doing within yourself that caused those people to change? He said, I was simply cleaning the part of me that I shared with them. Oh. Deb Moore. Give her a round of applause to be brave to come here and talk about all this.
Good morning. Good morning. Let's talk about Donald Trump. Now, I recognize that not everybody has the same level of challenge with the President of the United States that I do. You may not have a challenge with him at all. That's your business. You can insert Nancy Pelosi if you want to. I don't care. But we live in a world that some days feels like a dumpster fire, right? We're living in a reality right now in our country that feels polarized, divided, angry, really, really angry. So I want to talk to you about Ho'oponopono because it is the process by which I maintain my own sanity and I don't have to live in the stew of anger. It is a Hawaiian practice of reconciliation. In reading about it, I read that the ancient Polynesian people who practiced this saw error as leading to illness. And they said, if you're angry for more than 3 days, illness will come. And so Ho'oponopono was a way of cleaning out yourself, cleaning the anger out of yourself on behalf sometimes of another person. Right? So this process of reconciliation is beautiful because I love the word itself. Reconciliation means to bring back into harmony, to bring back into balance, right? Back in the old days when we actually used to balance our checkbooks, instead of doing it all online, we reconciled our bank statements. That's what we called it. It's about bringing all the accounts into balance with one another. So there's 4 simple steps with Ho'oponopono, and I'm going to walk you through them a little bit. This came up for me a couple of weeks ago, actually around Governor Lee. Because if you've been paying attention to the news, Governor Lee sponsored a bill that allows adoption agencies to openly discriminate against gay and lesbian people. It's actually had a lot of backlash from major corporations lately, which I was proud to see. But for me, that feels really personal. And sometimes the hardest things to deal with, it's one thing when you see a politician making what you think is a stupid choice. It's a whole other thing when that stupid choice affects you personally, right? And it feels personal, it feels core. And so I began to find myself easing toward the cliff where I would go over into the chasm of anger and hatred. You know, that place where you can feel just downright anger and hatred about someone. I didn't want to live in that place. We can be at the cliff of anger, or we can be on the mountaintop shining a light. Now, let me tell you the most important thing about this for me. Reconciling with another human being on the planet does not mean that I compromise my principles, that I stop standing up for truth and justice when I believe it's mine to do. It doesn't mean that I keep quiet. It means that I do that from the mountaintop of shining the light of love. and I don't do it from the chasm of anger. So let's walk through this. I'm sorry is the first step. At any one of these steps you can get stopped, let me just tell you that. There's a lot of folks who want to put someone like Donald Trump or Nancy Pelosi or Bill Lee up in front of their face and go, I'm not sorry, you're sorry. And you're the one who's sorry. But what this requires of us is that we get away from Deb the person and Bill Lee the person, and I elevate up into my higher self and I encounter his higher self, right? If you can think about there being some little like radiant tube of liquid light, or whatever you want to call it, that just connects you up to source, that same one is connecting him up to source as well. And so when I can elevate myself just a little bit, then I can say to his higher self, I'm sorry that at times I've only seen you one way. I'm sorry that I have walked around in the energy of anger when your name is mentioned. I'm sorry that I have fed you a stream of something other than love. If you can do nothing else, I'm sorry for any feeling I've ever held about you that was less than loving. Please forgive me. Now this one can be tough too, because we might still be a little bit in the earth plane of you're wrong, you're just wrong, you're making bad decisions, you're hurting people, you're just wrong. You need to be forgiven. I don't need to be forgiven, you need to be forgiven. But when we elevate ourselves, we can say, please forgive me when I have forgotten that you are a divine child of God. Please forgive me for that. Forgive me when I have charged you with intention when all I've really seen is your action. Listen to that again. Forgive me when I have charged you with intention when all I've really seen is your action. I don't know your soul. I don't know your spirit. So I can still stand up against the action you've taken while still loving you. So forgive me for not doing that. I love you. I love you. When I was doing this with Governor Lee in my vision, the most amazing thing happened. He morphed into my father. If my father had ever been governor of Tennessee, he would have been exactly like Bill Lee. He would have passed the same laws. He would have had the same stance. Do you remember when Bill Lee was running for governor and he had all these ads that bragged about being a seventh generation Tennessean? Yes. Well, according to Ancestry.com, my father was a 10th generation Tennessean, and you'd better damn well know it would have been in his ad. And he loved to hunt, and he was a card-carrying member of the NRA, and I loved him because I knew him on a higher level than the differences that we had. He was my dad, right? So Bill Lee is somebody's dad. Donald Trump is somebody's dad. Nancy Pelosi is somebody's mom. And if you were their kid, you'd love them, even if you still had the same stances of difference that you have with them now. Thank you. Thank you for helping me see this. Thank you for giving me a reason to step into the energy of Ho'oponopono. Thank you for helping me even remember that I need to think about reconciliation and I need to actively practice reconciliation. Thank you for teaching me how far love can reach. Because if it can reach between you and I, then it can reach anywhere in the universe. So let's walk through this practice briefly together. I want you to think about that person on the national or international scale. Take it away from your mom, who you're going to find her, figure out a way to love her no matter what, right? Or your dad. Think about that person who you can post self-righteously about on Facebook. And, you know, you may need to keep doing that. That's okay. Do it from love. Think about your Donald Trump, or your Bill Lee, or your Nancy Pelosi, or your Hillary Clinton, or whoever it is that takes you to the chasm of anger and keeps you from living on the mountaintop of light and love. Hold that person in your heart, and let's say this together. Are you ready? I am sorry for any feelings I have had about you that have been anything less than loving. Please forgive me for the times that I have forgotten that you are beloved and divine. I love you, for I am made of love, and you are made of love. And when we meet as our pure selves, I love you is all that can be said. Thank you for teaching me how far love can reach.
There's just a tiny tad that we need to do to wrap this up. We've been dealing with the premise that we live in an expanded universe. We did that last week. We expanded love and joy and peace and all that in here. And we expanded a bunch of stuff we didn't like in here. And we felt the difference. Because what we do as human beings, and we were taught to do this little bitty, is focus on what's missing, what's not there. And we focus on it and focus on it and focus on it, and what you focus on gets bigger. You realize that? So the principle is ideas and beliefs are expanded by the law of expansion. This is a universal law that's happening all the time. Whether we want to believe in it or not, it's happening all the time. So the practice is to take time regularly to align with the vibration of divine love. Whatever you do to do that. Meditation is a great thing. I love to sing with people. That does it for me. Whatever works for you. Align with that expression of divine love, because the payoff is what? Is anybody go, nah, I don't want to do that. I don't want to live in the flow of love. I'd rather live in the flow of hate. None of us are going to say that. But the bottom line, and remember, I'm being very crass now as minister. I was not for a long, long time, is we don't want to take the responsibility for it ourselves. And we have to. If somebody out there is upsetting you, it's about you. And would you rather hold hatred and anger so that you get sick? Or would you rather clean yourself out? That's the bottom line. That's the bottom line. Whether or not you believe in quantum energy and understand that if I keep sending these people love, they will shift and change. That's true. It works. But whether or not you can hang on to that right now, you can hang on to the thought that anger and hate is only going to make me feel bad. So, the entire universe is conspiring to give you everything that you want. You have to get clear about that. If you are talking on and on and on and on and on and on incessantly about what you don't want, hear me, the universe doesn't care. It'll go, oh, they must want a lot of that because they talk about it every day. Can you hear that? Some of you giggled because you got it. Some of you are still going, what is she saying? If I talk about the things that I don't like every day and I talk to other people about them and I post them on Facebook, guess what? The universe says, more of that for them. More of that for them. If I keep saying I don't have enough money to survive, guess what? More of that for you. If I keep saying things that I don't want. So begin to talk about what you do want. Because you have to remember what garden you're tending. Every act of love raises the vibration of all the universe, all the energy in this multiverse universe that we live in. So Voices of Unity is going to help with that before we shift the service again.
join together in the prayer of abundance. I live in the midst of infinite abundance. I give freely and fearlessly to life, and life gives back to me. For the walk of abundance, if you would come up this way, please. Drop your tithes and offerings in the bowl and get yourself an affirmation.
See how you're always
we bless these tithes and offerings, know that they have been given from that space of divine love. And then we draw back into ourselves, preparing ourselves to leave this bubble of love right here and to go out into the world. May I be peace. May I be love. May I be well. And may I be happy. And so it is. Amen.
Wow, that hit like a firebrand, didn't it? Woo! Oh, I felt that one going into the thigh, like, shh. I need to get that one tattooed on me. Woo, Lord. Thank you so much to Deb Moore. I appreciate you so much. Everybody give her a big hand. And I hope everybody has an easy time bringing forgiveness and love into the rest of your week. Will you please join me in the prayer for protection? The light of God surrounds us. The love of God enfolds us. The power of God protects us. The presence of God watches over us. Wherever we are, God is, and all is well.